BlaXit family, BlaXit family, BlaXit family. I hope you can hear me and see me. Can you hear me, Kath? Okay, great. Let me just put the mic in. Um, it's a little bit of a different show today because I'm actually not feeling very well, but I wanted to share information with you. So, Cafe, you'll have to tell me if people are on because I covered the camera loud and clear. Lovely. Thank you so much. Anyway, welcome to BlaXit. If you're new to BlaXit, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining BlaXit. Today's going to be a great show, although I'm unable to talk properly, so I will be doing it for a short time. I cracked my tooth and got an abscess, so that's the reason why I'm not on camera today. So I hope you can bear with me. There's a lot of stuff going on in the Pan-African community, and I'd love to share with you. I'm trying to find an image, actually, showing a campaign that's going to be launched. But BlaXit, if you're new to the channel, is all about our relocation, repatriation back to Africa. And I'm just trying to find this thing to show you, put it on the screen, but I'm not sure. It's not loading. Okay, I'm having some problems loading. I'm trying to use green screen to load information to show you, but it's not working properly for me. Aha, I think it's loading now. Hang on. Let me try and find it. So I was doing some research recently. I watched a report, and I wanted to share some of the information on the report with you. Don't know if you can see that. So I hope you can see that. I'll be changing it from time to time. But so basically, welcome to BlaXit. BlaXit is all about your repatriation, relocation back to Africa. Thank you for joining us. My name's Nyancho Kajabi. This is going to be quite a short, simply because I'm not feeling very well. So that's why I'm not on camera this week. So it will be short and it will be sweet. So let me give thanks to the people that are here today. Hello. I think that looks like Maxwell. Yeah, Bajara Maxwell. Thank you so much. Blessed day. And thank you to Be Israel as well. Thank you so much. Anyway, there was a report which was issued, which I wanted to talk about briefly. And it was very important that I share some of the information because, sorry, I have to keep drinking because my mouth is very sore. And so the report came out, and I wanted to check some of the information. I mean, I know that you've probably heard about what's been going on in the UK so far as new laws on asylum seekers. I mean, I've never seen so much racism, I swear to you. This is why I say we have to go, you know. I didn't realise, if you look at the information that I put on the screen as well, this was all part of the report. And it's really, really important with regard to our journey back to Africa and the reasons why. I mean, I've recently been speaking about reparations and the call for reparations and why it's so important for us to have reparations. And part of that reparations should be our relocation back to Africa. So as you know, I used to live in the UK. I first came to Africa over 30 years ago, and I realised I've been hoodwinked, I've been lied to. Africa isn't quite what they said it was going to be. It was amazing. I had an amazing time. My eyes were opened, And I realized that we had an alternative. We didn't have to live in the UK. We didn't have to stay there. So that being said, hi Rust, is that Runt? I hope I said your name correctly. I hope I've said your name correctly. Anyway, welcome, especially for anyone alive today. Yeah, so let me see if I can get this report. Excuse me. I realised that it was really important for us to make that all-important journey to Africa and to do more research and to find out more information about Africa, and also to not listen to, you know, the media, the European media that had their own agenda regarding Africa. Because what I saw and what I experienced and what they told me, like what I was seeing in the media, were two completely different things. So that is when I realized that we have to make the journey for ourselves. We have to make that pilgrimage. We owe it to ourselves. It's part of our birthright. And let's say total war, yeah, because now it's been, you know, said by many authorities within reparations and within Pan-Africanism that we need to describe chattel slavery, the transatlantic slave trade, as total war. And there are political reasons for saying that, because under the Geneva Conventions, we would be seen as victims of war, which we actually were, because we were taken away against our will. So sorry about the interruption. Can you just bear with me 1 second? Right. Does she know that I'm going live? Can you explain to her for me, please? Sorry about the interruption. So, Kath, sorry about the interruption. So, basically, there was a number of things that occurred to me, particularly when I was very much involved in the repatriation movement when I was in the UK, and that was the disconnect. They were trying to disconnect us from our past by trying to make it irrelevant. But the thing is that we have to keep our past relevant. It's very, very important that we keep our ancestral links and our ancestral lineage particularly relevant to our day-to-day lives, and also to share, you know, that journey and our lineage with our children. It's very, very important. Your ancestry is very, very important. But anyway, so England, the Home Secretary, she's a lady called Shabana Mahmood, and in England, I had to look at the figures and to show you the sheer racism and discrimination that is going on. Okay, now, you know, they have such a cold and callous attitude towards asylum seekers. Yet you must remember where the money of England comes from. It comes from the blood and the sweat and the tears of our ancestors. Okay, that's what England was built off of. Okay, England was in dire poverty before they started to go on their so-called privateering, pioneering, profiteering, and stealing ventures of going around and stealing other people's lands and other people's resources, including human resources, which of course was the enslavement, the capture and human trafficking of our ancestors. Anyway, so she announced the changes that asylum seekers will have to wait 20 years, okay? 20 years until they can be given stay in England. Okay, and that as soon as their countries prove to be safe again, then they can return. A lot of the countries that they're running from, a lot of the problems are caused by England in the first place. She can say that because she comes from Pakistan, and Pakistan was a British colony, and she's forgotten the whole history of Pakistan. This is what makes me sick about some of these people, right? This is what makes me totally churn, is that they haven't gone back through their colonial history to remember where they're coming from. Now, the reason why they're doing this is because of a lot of asylum seekers are coming from different parts, but they're particularly targeting Africans. So it's all right for them to come into Africa, take what they want, do what they want, but it's not all right for us to go and seek asylum after they invest in arms, after they go and they destroy these countries. You know, I'll tell you, you know, her parents, you can't even find their ages online. And she's supposed to be a public servant, okay? Her parents, they come from Pakistan, a place called Mirpur Azan Kazmi, right? And her parents are, they were shopkeepers, and her dad was a civil engineer, okay? And what's their names gone again? I'm sure I wrote them down somewhere. But anyway, her parents, was it Zahira or something like this? Zahira something. Mother is Zubaydah, that's it. And the father is Mahmoud Ahmed. You understand? And the thing is that go back in their history in the colonization of the UK and you'll understand. So I think, you know, the fact that the population of the UK is over 58 million people, 58 million people, right? And the number of people claiming asylum that they're complaining about is just 108,000. Now, how can one of the wealthiest, richest countries in the world complain about helping just 108,000 people when their population is over 58 million? You understand where I'm coming from? So what I'm trying to say is that I want more of us to try and stay in Africa rather than going there to try and seek asylum. Now they're trying to take the piece and, you know, oh, you've got to be there for 20 years to do whatever, when they're the ones damaging your country and who colonized your country, enslaved your ancestors in the first place, causing the ongoing underdevelopment of the country while people want to leave. They're hypocrites. You understand? This is hypocrisy, total hypocrisy. So anyway, greetings, sis. Zara, how are you? And Daryl, reparations. You don't sound Black American. Okay. Do I have to be to talk about in America? Very close to my heart. So I don't think that. Hi, is that Ray or Ray? How are you? Daryl, how are you? Joseph, how are you? Okay. Yeah, black fatigue is absolutely real. We spoke about that. And I'm glad that you raised that, because we had, I think, a whole show about that just recently. And I'm glad you're really watching and taking in the information that we are sharing. It's very, very important. This report that was released that I took notes on, I just wanted to share. Like I said, my mouth is kind of sore, but I've taken some wash and some salt water and whatever, because I really wanted to discuss Simpwe as well, from the Balenta organization, also did a representation to Brazil for the Vatican to talk about their involvement in slavery as well. And I want to talk about that more in depth. I have talked about it before. I talked about the Vatican, and, you know, I talked about the letter. I talked about vis-a-vis a lot of the information there in a previous program, but I do want to go into that, because it's very important that you understand where the I'm still adjusted to the time, but I'm excited to be home here in Gambia. Oh, you're here in Gambia. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh my goodness, that's fantastic news. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, so you know what to do. You message me. Yeah. message me. I'm not at work currently though, because of my mouth is swollen. My face is actually swollen, and I am in a bit of pain. But I'm still here. You understand? So it was, if you like, a religious war in a sense, and we will talk about that in more detail because I think it's important. I don't know if you've been. The president of America decided that he wanted to involve himself with regard to what's going on in Nigeria, saying that the Nigerian president wasn't doing enough to protect Christians because he wasn't a Christian, and he felt that this organization called this is a show of imperialistic, I don't even know what to say it, bullying and imperialistic domination. How dare you ignore the sovereignty of another nation and then go and impose that you are the Christian leader of the free world to go into another person's country to try and dominate it with what you're going to do. You cannot do that. Firstly, you have to ask permission. If you want to grant assistance, then you have to seek that permission to grant assistance if you want to. But since when was he interested in Christian Nigerians? Tell me. Well, really, there's not the interest. The interest is in the oil. That, they always have, a back way into Africa. And why am I discussing this? Why am I saying this? Is because, when we decide to come back to Africa, what's going on in Ukraine and other places, they are looking to Africa. Now, because Nigeria has done certain deals with China, now, America's having a bit of a hissy fit, to put it in simple terms. Yeah. And, one of the things that the president of America did was to rename the Department of Defense. He renamed it to the Department of War. I think that should give you some indication of what's to go on. And there is something that I need to tell you very importantly, which is why I'm doing this broadcast, okay? There's something that I want to tell you that's really, really important, okay? And we have to remember that one person's freedom fighter is another person's terrorist, okay? So anyway, I basically would like to put out there that we need to control our sovereignty and we need to control our own country. Imperialistic domination and coercion are over. Like I said, I don't agree with us going out and killing each other for any reason whatsoever. But at the end of the day, you have to look at what happened in Libya. You have to look at what happened in Iraq, what happened in Afghanistan. Nigeria, stand strong. Nigeria, stand strong. Okay? And for all those people who want to go, okay, let's try and do our best of staying. Yeah, it's a form of intimidation. Okay? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I will feel better soon. But I wanted to say that in another reason why they're taking a look at Africa is because in 2019, 1.1 million African Americans, plus people of other nations, because they always forget the Caribbean and the UK and so on, visited Ghana. A lot of people also visited Senegal, okay? And people are also visiting Rwanda and South Africa and Gambia. And, now, there's been, if you like, a lot of changes that are going on now with the diaspora. And I'm glad to see it. And particularly what's happened recently in Benin has been remarkable. Benin has actually made a law to include us and also to give us citizenship, which has been amazing. They've actually made it a law. So, we are making good progress step by step, okay? So according to an AU engagement report in 2024, okay, it seems we're back. So I apologize for that. I don't know. I don't quite know what's going on with the internet, so I do apologize for the slight delay. So I was saying that according to an AU Diaspora Engagement, an AU, I mean African Union Diaspora Engagement report of 2024, this was part of the report that I read, that over 220,000, when they say African Americans, I think it includes people from the Caribbean and also, England, Europe, etc., Brazil, etc., from the Caribbean as well, have applied for residency or business or long-term business visas in Ghana, which is amazing. Now, I tried to find the report and I couldn't find it, so I cannot confirm. I can't confirm that, okay? But if it is true, it is amazing. So I want to say that we are making a lot of strides in coming to Africa. I do apologize for my speech, but it's quite painful to speak at the moment. And also, I want to talk about a Pew report. This is what you can see on the screen now. Now, the report that I saw stated that a research study found that 82% of African Americans reported systematic racism as part of their daily life. Okay? And so I went to go and search myself, and I didn't find 82%. But what I did find is this graph right here, which I went onto the Pew research, you can find it yourself. And it says the majority of Black adults say that they have experienced racial discrimination. Now, I myself personally have been to America, but no, I have not lived in America. And the American experience is quite a unique one, especially because of the context of slavery. And I wanted to talk about that because I was talking about the UK and sugar and slavery for the last few weeks. But I haven't really touched as much on America. I did talk about the story of Simon Hardy, which was based in America, and I spoke about what he did. Now, but I didn't go into it. Now, I was, quite astounded to find this out. Also, I also found out that, let's see if I can bring up another green screen. I'm not sure what I'm doing here, so you're going to have to bear with me, okay? I also found out that there was some other tables that have shown the disparages. Now, there's something that really hit me, which is why I got out of my sick bed to make sure that I could share this with you. And it was about not only the systematic racism as part of daily life, but also the racial wealth gap, okay? It said that the median income of Black households is 24,000 annually compared to 188,000 for a white household in America. And I'm thinking, wow, I didn't realize, when I saw this report, I was just like, is this for real? So I decided to do my own research, and I can conclude and I can concur that the disparage between Black households and white households annually is colossally huge. Yeah, and there's a Federal Reserve report as well, which also shows a survey on consumer finances. The disparages, we need to come back to Africa. I mean, the more research I do, the more it tells me that we need to come and build ourselves in Africa. You understand? Because seriously, if this is what they're doing to Black people, they're keeping you on the edge while they are at the top. You understand? I didn't realize in 2024 that this was still the humongous difference. I mean, 24,000 for an annual household income for a Black family compared to 188,000 for a white household. Now, come on. Okay? And then according to the Federal Reserve, I'm not just talking about the income, I'm now talking about business, because many of us are entrepreneurs. We're trying to, make it. We're trying to, build and develop. And, they're also talking about the finances and the lack of support that businesses get, And another thing that they talked about in this report was the fact that more black families, African American families, are teaching children how to survive a traffic stop more urgently, right, than it is to teach them about saving for college. Okay, so they're teaching them how to survive a traffic stop, to stop, they're more scared about their children getting killed by the police. We don't need to be there. You understand? We just don't need to be there. This is trauma. This is intergenerational trauma. It's serious. It really is. It really is. And so, they talked about George Floyd's murder and also Tyre Nichols as well in 2023. And they talked about generational trauma and high-profile killings that stay etched into the national consciousness, okay? And they're saying that it's not just grief. They're saying that we're suffering from generational trauma. So us staying in these countries, us staying in these places where we're going to be racially profiled, living in systemic and systematic ongoing direct and indirect racism, is affecting us. It's affecting us seriously. So this generational trauma is having an effect on our mental health. And mental health experts say that African Americans are 20% more likely to experience psychological distress compared to their white counterparts. 20% more likely. And I would say that that's even probably an understatement, to be fair, okay? Because, according to Dr. Francis Chris Welsing, we are serious victims and suffer from generational trauma and post-traumatic slavery syndrome, according to Dr. Joy DeGroy as well. So they talked about employment, and they talked about that the fact that unemployment has been 2% higher for black people for the last 2 decades. It also said that 67% of small and medium enterprises, that there are systems of inequality there. And a 2025 report by the National Black Chamber of Commerce stated that 67% of black-owned SMEs, small to medium enterprises, fail to secure lending, right, and fair lending terms compared to 29% of white-owned firms. Now, if you're in Africa, that kind of, evens the score. Now, here you have Sharia lending here as well. So I don't know if you know about Sharia lending, but Sharia lending is where it's actually interest-free. But for example, say you want to go and buy a building for your business, like you register your business with that bank, you show them, you keep all your income going into that bank. When you want to borrow, the bank don't lend you the money. They go and they'll buy the building for you, and then you pay them back for the building. They have that here in Gambia, and I learned that through the APS micro loan system that they have. I wanted to know, because I didn't understand it, so I wanted to know how it worked. So I asked them. So imagine that. This is here in Africa. They're saying that 67% of black-owned SMEs fail to secure fair lending terms compared to 29% of white-owned firms. This is not right. Do you understand? This is not right. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you think about it. We've had 4 generations of forced separation, right? Severed family trees. Our surnames were erased. Our ancestral villages became a total mystery to us. Yeah. And it's only now with like, African ancestry and other, DNA and other, I think it's 22andMe and other places, you're able to now trace your genealogy. And they have databases, okay, that are helping us, okay? And in this report, they were saying that, previous generations could never have traced their ancestry. So we're quite privileged to have done that. Okay, and in order to know where we're coming from, because we need to, like a tree of its roots, we need to find out our roots and where we're coming from. And I keep talking about that because that's also important with regard to our citizenship. Okay, because at the end of the day, it looks as though they're always going to be balancing the scales in their favor. Okay, this is institutional racism. And the only way that we are going to leave institutional racism is by leaving those countries, okay? So, sorry, I can't see your comments at the moment. 1 second. I'm just like I said, it's shocking to me that, this is, I didn't realize that the figures, someone said to me, you're talking about this, you need to look at America more closely. And so I did a research and started reading the report. And now I realize it. And like I said, I have very close family ties to America. So I have an interest there. So Ashley, welcome. US blacks did better pre-civil rights movement. Why is that? Strive to be better. Yeah. You know what? Because of integration, Pratham, what is the topic? Okay, so if you can look on on the screen, it says the majority of black adults say that they've experienced racism. This is a Pew report that was based on our African brothers and sisters in African American brothers and sisters in America. And so what we're looking at is, the reasons why a report was released about the reason why so many people are leaving and why high numbers of people are leaving and coming back to Africa. And these were some of the reasons given. So I wanted to go through the report because obviously some of the information in the report wasn't entirely accurate. So I went back through the report myself to do my own research on the report. And one of the things that it talked about is the fact that African Ancestry said that their customer base grew 300% between 2020 and 2024. That means that more of us are seeking to know where we're coming from, which is great. Okay, because if you know where you're coming from, you know where you're going to. Okay, I'm not saying that you have to go directly to that point when you come to Africa, because it depends on where your DNA directs you to. Okay, but what I'm saying to you is that the level of racism in America is a lot higher than I first inclined. The reason why is because they hide it. They hide it, and it's only with regard to the new government. We were also talking about Nigeria and the imperialistic, fascist, racist way in which they're trying to bully Nigeria, which is totally unacceptable. Okay, that is not how you go about working in partnership with another nation. Okay. But, for many parents now, they want their children to know where they're from, whether they're Ashanti, whether they're Wolof, whether they're Mandinka, whether they're Fulani, whether they're Yoruba, whether they're Hausa, whether they're Kalabari, they want to know that whether they're Igbo, you understand. So that's important, okay? So a lot of countries now are trying to offer expedited citizenship, which is really good. Rwanda is also one of them. South Africa is also trying to provide tax incentives, and Senegal has also got a special program that they're working on as well that aims at diasporan investors. So there is good news on that front, okay? And according to the Ghana Ministry of Arts and Tourism and Culture, diaspora remittances and investments contributed to $3.5 billion to the local economy in 2024. Let that sink in. According to the Ghanaian Ministry of Arts and Tourism and Culture, the diaspora remittances and investments contributed to $3.5 billion to the local economy in 2024. So it means that us working together, we can create the change that we want to see. And it's an increase, because before, in 2018, it was just 1.8 billion. Okay, so before that, it was 1.8 billion. That is a major increase and contribution that we have made. Yeah. And also the local businesses also benefited, restaurants, boutiques, hotels, all kinds of, and retailers all benefited. Yeah. And you've got to remember that the IMF has said already, and you know what they're doing to Africa, tying them up in debt, right? Is that the 6 fastest growing economies are in Africa, including Ethiopia, Cote d'Ivoire, Lagos, Nairobi, and Kigali. So the thing is that there's something that I read. I'm trying to get it on the screen, and it really hit me really hard. And it was about how little our lives matter in America, okay? When I did some research, I tried to do some research to find out about Black deaths and how many, okay? And do you know that there was no concise, figure? But what I did discover, right, was something that I didn't know. And it was about the 1.63 million Black deaths that occur in the US, under medical discrimination. I did not know about that. 1.63 million excess Black deaths that happen in America. I wasn't aware of that. I was not aware of that. That's like over half the population of the country that I live in all drop dead. God forbid, I'm not asking for that. I'm saying that, the population of Gambia is just like, everybody. I'm broadcasting from Gambia. This is where I live. This is where I made my home. Sorry, I forgot to mention that at the beginning. BlaXit is a service that is dedicated to your repatriation, relocation back to Africa. Okay, and so this is what I'm talking about. So and reasons to come. I did not know that there was 1.63 million excess Black deaths. Now I'm going to try and see if I can find it, if I can do a screenshot. So just bear with me a sec, and if I can put it on the screen, for you to see as well. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because I'm going to come off very soon because my mouth is very sore, is that I'm really worried about the release of a drug called Ozempic at reduced cost, okay, which was seen as a miracle weight loss drug. I'm scared about it coming into our communities. On November the 6th, there was a press conference by the president and the health minister and everybody else that was there. And Eli Lilly was there, and I think representatives of two of the largest pharmaceutical companies was there as well. And it's like they were saying they were declaring war on chronic disease, but I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's ethnic cleansing, okay? They're saying that 50% of the adult population in America is obese because of poverty and because of eating over processed foods. So why don't you have less over processed foods? Do you understand? So anyway, this drug has had many court cases. It's been linked with, many complications. In fact, when that guy Kennedy was running for president, he actually did an interview in which he talked about some of the negative side effects of it. So during the press conference while they were having it, you can actually go and look yourself. It was on November the 6th, okay? They had it, and there was this announcement, and I don't even know what brought me to it. It was like my spirit. Sometimes it guides me to things, it really does. And when I was listening to the press conference, they were talking about they'll be losing like 125 million pounds by this time next year. I mean, as in weight. That's what they're saying about, how it's going to help people. It's going to make people lose weight and reduce the amount of diabetes. But, this drug was banned in Europe as a weight loss drug. It was actually used as a drug for diabetes. Okay? And so I'm just like shocked that they would try and reduce it to bring it into the poorer, the poorer neighborhoods. Do you understand? And I, for the life of me, I don't understand. But a guy called Tucker Carlson actually posted an interview on it. Okay, and they said that this particular drug, it paralyzes the stomach, and it stops a lot of the serotonin. What do we need for our melanin? Serotonin. And that it stops a lot of the serotonin that we produce, yeah? And this happens in the stomach, right? And it also is part of the microbiome that it destroys. This is what they said. This is in quotes, yeah? And also it interferes with our capacity to produce serotonin, right? And he said that on its label, he thinks now it has a black box warning, yeah, about suicidal ideation, okay? You know what I'm talking about there. And also, it talks about a lot of people, it causes seizure of the gastrointestinal problems. And also, the moment you stop using it, you regain all the weight. So in the meantime, your stomach has been paralyzed, and a lot of these impacts, apparently, they last long after you've stopped being on that program. So this is dangerous. So I want to give you a warning about Ozempic, okay? Now, during the press conference, this guy who was called, what's his name? Beginning with G, I've forgotten his name. He collapsed. What was his name? This guy, he was a patient. I can't remember. I remember them calling out his name. His name, Gordon, that's it. This guy called Gordon, who they were bringing out, apparently, according to the Washington Post, the New York Times, the Washington Post, and the Daily Telegraph, said that the guy who actually collapsed was a patient of Eli Lilly who had been using the drug. And he actually collapsed. So can you imagine if that's happening to him? What do they want to do to us? Okay. So apparently there was a prophecy that was made by this guy called Brandon Biggs, who he said that I think he has a podcast, a Christian podcast, or I don't know, channel or whatever, called Last Days. And he became famous because he gave the prediction of Trump getting the assassination attempt on him. Okay, so that's how he became famous. So a lot of people like watch him now to see what his predictions are going to be. And one of the predictions that he made was about Ozempic, believe it or not, saying that it was going to be the next pandemic and that it was a form of ethnic cleansing targeting us. So I just want to put a warning out to our people not to take this. Okay, not to take this drug. Okay, because I don't know what's going on, but anything that affects our serotonin is not good for us, okay? Anything that affects our serotonin, I'm going to go through the comments, okay? Anything that affects our serotonin is not good for us. So please share that information out, okay? I didn't realize how much they were targeting us in terms of the way in which in the in terms of if I can change the green screen, just bear with me 1 minute. Oops, it's not that one. Oh gosh, I don't know what I've just done. Green screen, found it. Okay, 1 second. It's not there. I just did it. I don't know why it didn't come up. Hang on. Oh, maybe I did. This is all technical for me. Okay, I'm trying it now. Just bear with me 1 second. It's not, I don't know why it's not loading. This is very strange. Let me go into screenshots. See if screenshot will do. Okay. Okay. Okay, so can you see that? It says systematic health inequalities beyond direct violence, systematic racism contributes to significant health disparities that result in higher mortality rates. One study from the medical journal JAMA Network estimated that between 1999 and 2020, there were in excess deaths among Black Americans. According to white Americans, a staggering toll attributed to racial inequalities. Okay. And then the American Medical Association notes that inequality toll accounts for estimated 74,000 more deaths a year for Black Americans. Now, this is why I'm telling you this about Ozempic, not to take it. Okay. At the bottom it says this highlights the total number of complex and devastating figure that accurate accounts for many periods long, but that's not really neither here nor there. What I'm trying to say to you is that nearly the majority of the population of the country that I live in, wouldn't be here based on the number of Black excess deaths, systematic health inequalities. Okay, now I think that they're trying to extend this. So this program is really an alarm to tell you, please don't take this Ozempic. Okay, this is my warning message. My mouth is sore. Okay, my mouth is sore. I started by talking about, what they're doing in the UK to asylum seekers, to send out a warning. Okay, don't bother to go there. Don't bother to go there, because at the end of the day, we need to try and focus on what we can do in Africa and try and work together and build for ourselves and realize that our future is here. Okay, I haven't felt more free. I haven't felt more at peace. I haven't felt more happy. Okay, so I cracked my tooth. Okay, and I've got a bit of an abscess at the moment, but sorry, that was due to my own doing, and soon it will be gone down and I'll be fine again. Okay, so but what I'm saying is that I didn't realize. Someone was telling me how bad it is in America, and I didn't realize. So I apologize to all of my brothers and sisters over there, and also my family, over there in the States, because the call for reparations, this is the evidence that we need. Okay, the call for reparations is because it's ongoing. Okay, it is ongoing. The war on us is ongoing. These figures, this information that I'm giving you, all ties into what I'm talking about. Sorry. It all ties into what I'm talking about with regard to the decade, for reparations by the AU, which is between 2026, and 2036. This is the information that we need. This is how to show that this is still ongoing. Okay, this is a war. This is called total war on us, and we're going to have to fight this war. Okay, now I'm not feeling 100% this week, so I do apologize if I'm not my usual self, and I also do apologize for not being on camera. But the last thing I wanted to say, that I went onto a website called www.balenta.org, and I took some figures about citizenship, because a lot of scaremongering has been going on, where people have been trying to, racists have been trying to use it to scaremonger African nations, and this is what racists do. They play one off against the other. Now, in Ghana, only 926 people, have gotten citizenship. What is the population of Ghana? Someone tell me. Okay. Tanzania, it's only 500 people. Sierra Leone, it's only 250 people. Okay. Think about it. Out of the huge population of those countries. So don't allow people to scaremonger you. I recently did the press conference, and some articles from the press was released, and I saw some of the comments, and what I saw was Europeans trying to scaremonger Africans into this whole floodgate scenario. It's not going to happen. Okay, it's not going to happen. And the reason why is because the exodus is just trickling along. It's going to be a drip feed situation, because many of us can't even get out, because we're locked in through debt. We're locked in through so many different situations that it's hard to get out. Us that have got out, we're like the chosen ones, I swear, and we found the promised land. And we're trying to tell other people, come out to freedom, come out to freedom. This is what I'm trying to do, trying to help you. And we are working on a second Serenity estate for everybody that wants a repatriation, and we are working on that. We still have land in the Neto Sion, we still have land in Gunjur, and we still have land in Berending, I believe. So I will keep you updated with regards to that. So yeah, I'm taking a couple of days off just to get my health back. So this was a short live, and I just want to say thank you. But I just want you to know that the war on us hasn't stopped. Many people have got complacent and think that, everything's great and we're integrated and life is great. No, it's not. Yeah, the war is still going on against us. Okay, and Ozempic will take out so many of us. Okay, because it's linked to too many health complications. And I'm not saying this. This was said by the now health minister. Okay, of in the White House. Okay, this was said by him. Okay, in an interview. So the only thing I can say really is that we have to look sharp. Okay, we have to look sharp, and we have to protect ourselves, and we have to look after ourselves. Being in Africa for me is the safest bet. Okay, and I don't think that I could talk like this if I was in the UK. I think that they would use their usual measures. When people talk out a lot in the UK, people are usually found unalive under mysterious circumstances, or they have, sudden heart attacks and stuff like that. You understand? And in fact, that even happened to me, after a hip replacement operation. I had a heart attack due to the drugs that I was given. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is that we have to look forward to coming back to Africa. We have to start to invest wisely in Africa, and we have to work together as diasporans. There's 1.5 billion of us. If we start to come together and work together as a economical and political alliance, okay, because we're not begging. This is our birthright. Okay, this is our birthright. And I will talk about international law, and I will talk about the Geneva Convention, and I will talk about the beginning of slavery, and I will talk about the Vatican and the Pope and the link to that. I spoke about it before, but I don't think that I maybe joined the dots enough for you to see exactly, how it charts into today, and also the disinformation that we were given, the poison and miseducation that we were given to keep the status quo going and to allow them to still maintain control and financial dominance over us, okay? And remember, we learn in their educational system, not ours, okay? So if your enemy is educating you, what is he really teaching you, okay? If your enemy is educating you, what is your enemy really teaching you, okay? So listen, remember this, you are divine beings, you are loved. I love you, love you, love you, love you. Remember, if you do want your repatriation land, do drop us a line on the text line. That's +22024.